Hi everyone, welcome to Hampton Manor. Let me show you what we're all about. So we're just lighting the barbecue, ready for service. So we've got a mix of binge tan and lumpwood charcoal. Yeah, I think cooking over the coals, it adds another dimension of flavour. So when you think about sweet, sour, acidity, the umami, and then smokiness is, for me, that's another one, that's another sense. And it with a lot of the dishes, like with the Iberico dish that we do, or the Côte de Boeuf, it enhances the flavour of the meat so much. If I had to smoke up in, paraphrase or whatever else, it's good food, good wine, good music, although the last one's questionable. Okay, so for our first dish, we're going to cook a XL scallop over the barbecue with a Thai green curry, some black pudding and celeriac barigol. So we've got these absolutely monstrous scallops from Harriet New Wave. They're absolutely huge. All we're going to do is just crack the bottom of the shell. So just give it a good old twist. When you feel that crack, you're just going to be a bit easier getting behind the scallop. So against the shell, and then just lift off. There we go. So next we're going to make our Thai green paste. So we've got shallots, ginger, bird's eye chilies, some lemongrass, some coriander, some lime leaves and some lime. So we'll just make that into a paste, which will be the base for our Thai green sauce. So now we're going to take all of our ingredients for our Thai green paste and just pop it into the blender. So now we're just going to give it a good blend. So we'll start to smell all those aromats coming out, the cumin, the ginger, the lemongrass, the coriander. So it smells delicious. So next we're just going to start cooking off our Thai green paste. So we just want to give it a light bit of colour. We're not looking to colour it up too much, just because we don't want to burn the shallots or any of the spices, but we just want to cook out the rawness of the paste. So you're looking to cook out the rawness of the garlic and the shallots. So we're just going to add in our white wine. So there's white wine and rice wine vinegar in here. So we're just going to reduce that down by half. We've then got some dashi stock, so some concentrated dashi, and we've also got some double cream. So we're just going to go in with those next. So as you can see, obviously it's not very green at the moment, so we're going to add a little bit of spinach puree just when it comes to serving. But we just want to get as much flavour out of it as possible. So what we'll do next, using the Bamix, the hand blender, we'll just give it a little bit of a whiz just to emulsify in that cream. So we'll just add the butter in stages just while we're blending, so we don't want to add too much butter at a time. So just a couple of cubes at a time. So that's the Thai green curry sauce done. So we've got our big boy scallop, so we're just going to hit it with a nice amount of seasoning. Obviously because the seasoning at this point is only going to hit the outside, and because of how large it is, you want it to be seasoned all the way through, or as much as possible, so we're going to season it quite heavily. With all scallops, there's the top and then there's the bottom. So you always want to make sure that you're sealing it on the presentation side, which is the top. Just as it starts to cook, it will hold its own shape, but we just need to hold it in place to begin with. So now we're starting to get a good crust on the scallop. So it's starting to go nice and golden. Nice bit of crust on there. So we're going to go in with some salted smoked butter. So we smoke it ourselves, just take normal salted butter, smoke it over oak, and it just adds a nice base layer of flavour to the fish. So just because of the size, we're just going to give it a minute in the oven, just to help it get to a nice kind of temperature inside, around 40 degrees. Okay, so our scallops had a couple of minutes to rest. So in here we've got our dashi glaze. So we use fermented cocoa pods called Obika, and we mix it with rice wine vinegar and honey, and we make a dashi glaze. So we've just glazed that up on the top there. So we'll just drop that onto the bars, and we're just looking to add to that crust. We want to get that smokiness into the scallop. We want to get a bit of that caramelised kind of flavour. Lime juice, just to give it a nice bit of freshness, and then just some Maldon salt. So that's all the components of the dish done. Now we're going to start plating. Okay, so first I'm going to put the Thai green sauce onto the plate. We're just going to let that settle, and then we're going to add on the humongous scallop that we've just barbecued with the dashi glaze, and then onto that we're going to add our fruity pig black pudding, and then we're going to add on our celeriac baragal, and then just finish it generously with a chive oil and some Thai basil. So the dish is dashi glazed scallop with Thai green sauce, black pudding and celeriac baragal. So the second dish I'm cooking for you today, a bit of a classic on the smoke menu, one of our signature desserts, so it's the baked Alaska. So it changes seasonally, so we're doing the raspberry and lemon verbena baked Alaska. So to start our baked Alaska, we're going to make our two parfaits. So the first parfait we're going to make is the raspberry parfait. So we're going to start off by adding our egg yolks into the mixing bowl, and we'll just slowly start to get them mixing to make what's called a sabayon. Then next what we'll do is we'll put our sugar into the pan. We'll add just a touch of water. We'll bring that up to 121 degrees, and then we'll pour that over the egg yolks to form our sabayon. The hot sugar syrup has started to cook the eggs, so the eggs have doubled in volume and they're starting to change colour, so they're starting to go paler. So we'll just keep this whipping all the way until it goes quite stiff and quite, just fully incorporates as much air as possible. So we're just going to go in with our next part of the process. So we've got some beetroot powder. Next is our raspberry compound, so it's almost like a raspberry jam. So we're just going to knock that into there. So last but not least is the citric acid, so we're just going to add that into the parfait as well. So what we're going to do next is just knock that off, and we're going to just whip up some double cream to fold through our sabayon, which forms the finished parfait. We're just going to add in just a small amount, just to loosen up the parfait. So we'll beat this part in, which will loosen up the parfait. Then we'll take this part and we'll fold it in. So we're going to get all that in there, and you'll see what's happening with the texture of the parfaits. It's again it's thickened up a little bit. It's obviously got a lot more volume to it than before. So what we're going to do next, we've got our greased silicone mould. So we're just going to add that in, and we just want to be quite generous with it, because you can always just smooth it back over, put any excess back into another tray. But what you don't want is any air bubbles. And then with this tray, we're just going to knock it against the bench a little bit. So that would just knock out any air bubbles. You're not trying to knock all the air out of it. Just pop that into the freezer, ready to go onto our shortbread, and also with the lemon verbena parfait. So next is our lemon verbena parfait. So we've got some cream that we've infused with lemon verbena and then just passed that out. We then infuse it into the cream. We're now going to whip the cream the same way that we did with the raspberry parfait, and then just mix the two together. Fill these into the moulds. So we just want to kind of overfill them slightly, just so we can knock the air out and then just smooth them over. So we're just going to take these lemon verbena parfaits and just pop them into the freezer. So we're just going to take our parfaits from out the moulds. So they've been made and then frozen. Okay, so next we're going to make our meringue. So we've got our egg whites. We're just going to pop those into our mixing bowl, and we're just going to give it a good mix until they're just kind of soft peaking. At the same time, or simultaneously, we're going to be bringing up our sugar, again another stock syrup, up to 121 degrees. Same method as the parfaits, but obviously it's just with egg whites. So the meringue's just finished whisking. As you can see, it's nice and glossy. It's got a good shine to it, and it's the right texture, so it's nice and thick. It's got stiff peaks. So that's what we're after. So we're going to put that into our piping bag, and then we're going to start piping the Alaska. So then once the baked Alaska is centered, we've got our meringue in our piping bag. So we're just going to slowly pipe that on. Yeah, so we're just going to blowtorch our baked Alaska. So obviously it's a bit of an unconventional tool in a kitchen, being a vinyl deck, but it works perfectly for these baked Alaskas. So that's all the components of the dish done. Now we're going to start plating. After we've blowtorched the baked Alaska onto the plate, we're then going to place on gently our raspberries, and then after that we're going to go on with our raspberry caramel. Then we're going to go on with the marigold leaves and the marigold flowers. And here we have the finished baked Alaska. So it's a raspberry and lemon verbena baked Alaska with marigold flowers, raspberry caramel and raspberries. So thank you very much to the staff canteen for coming and shooting with us today. If you liked it, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and click here for more videos like this.